Hey, this is Alan. I am out, dropped something off at the post office and driving around during the shelter-in-place quarantine at home. So this is a little bit of an on-the-road recording of In Progress, a podcast about faith, life, and how we grow. And if you hear whatever wind or car or I don't know what in the background, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, this is kind of the way life is these days, so I'm just rolling with it. But for this episode today, I was just thinking about, obviously what we're all thinking about right now, which is just this feeling of not being in control and living in the middle of uncertainty. And I was thinking about the Apostle Paul. Now, I've talked about this specific thing before in relationship to my health issue, my unknown health thing that I've been dealing with for 9 years now, and I don't have an answer for it. I don't know what's wrong with me. And even though to some it sounds kind of defeatist, I don't think I'm going to find out what's wrong with me. And it's weird. I don't have a deep sense of bitterness about that. And I think part of it is because of looking at Paul's example, where he writes about this thorn in the flesh, this thing that we don't know what it is. There are some hints that, from different parts of different letters where he kind of makes some comments, not directly going into much detail, but talking about kind of things that make us think his eyesight was pretty bad. So maybe it was something to do with that, his thorn in the flesh. Others have speculated, and, I'm sure there have been countless doctoral theses. I know it's weird with thesis, plural, written about this and trying to figure out what he was going through. But we don't know. And regardless, I actually don't think that it would really bring us all that much healing or solution or hope to know his specific circumstances. But what we do know is that he was going through something he wished could change, something he wished wasn't going on, and something that he cried out and he was asking God, please fix me. Please fix this. Please bring things back to kind of the way we are talking about life right now in the midst of this shutdown with coronavirus. Bring things back to normal. And he cried out and he asked God. And the response that he got from God was, "My grace is enough for you." And I can't even tell you how much meaning and how much comfort I've found in those words, even though you wouldn't really imagine that it's all that comforting when you hear it for the first time, because the response is not, "Yep, let me take care of that for you." It's not, "Hey, if you obey me and you're faithful and you do this and this and this, the end result will be, yep, you'll get exactly what you're hoping for." The response is, "My grace is enough." And I think that truth is really meaningful for all of us right now. The next line, he says, "My grace is enough," or maybe the phrase, "My grace is sufficient for you. My strength is made perfect in weakness." And we really don't like that idea. I really don't like that idea. I would love if God's strength was made perfect in strength. If God's strength was made perfect by fixing everything and making all circumstances exactly line up for what would make my life the easiest and smoothest and most convenient. But that's not the way things go. And something that I find really, really encouraging is that Paul, in a different part of some of his writing, he talks about a peace that passes understanding. One of the ways that I've talked about it before is a peace that doesn't make sense. And I love the idea that Paul, this guy, the guy who lived with some chronic, difficult, uncertainty-producing thing I wish would just go away so I could get back to normal life. That guy wrote about this peace that didn't make sense. This peace from God that didn't make sense. And when I read that, when I think about that, and when I kind of tie it to what I'm going through right now and what you're going through right now, I really just think, man, we're chasing after a fix. We're chasing after an end to this shutdown, quarantine, staying socially distant from people. We're chasing an end to this abnormal, and we're chasing a return to normal, instead of what Paul did in the midst of living in non-normal, or his new normal, is he found this peace that passed all understanding. This peace that didn't make sense. Because if you look at life right now and see all the circumstances that are in upheaval, all the things that, I look at my speaking calendar and I have a couple things that are scheduled like a month from now. I don't anticipate those events still happening, but we'll see, right? I can't project what life is going to look like a month from now. I mean, I can project it, but I'm not going to be right? I can't predict what life's going to look like a month from now. And that's a really weird place to be. That's a really weird place to live, where we're looking and going, all the rest of my life, I could look and plan ahead and picture, okay, this is going to happen. This is probably going to happen. Okay, I can plan for this. Well, right now, we're just kind of in limbo. We're just kind of waiting. We're just kind of here. And this new normal, or waiting to get back to normal, while we're in the midst of this uncertainty and difficulty and just unknown. Man, I think about how to find this peace through Christ. This peace that doesn't make sense. This peace that passes understanding. This peace that only God can give. That isn't circumstance-based. That isn't, okay, once you get a fix, then you'll be able to experience peace because everything's going to be back to normal, and you're going to be happy and more appreciative of that now than you ever were before. Well, that would be a peace that did make sense, right? Right now, I feel like, man, if we can get back to normal, that's going to bring a lot of people a lot of peace. What Paul's talking about is a peace in the midst of what we're going through, what we're facing. And I want to encourage you, maybe you've listened to the last few episodes and heard me talk some about meditation, talk some about letting go, talk some about surrender. I want to encourage you to really take that to heart, to really give that stuff a try, and to understand that God wants to be at work in our lives right now. Now, we resist that because the way we want him to work is one exact certain way. And if he's not going to do that, then okay, I just kind of want to be left alone. but he wants to be at work in our lives right now. And some of that work is going to look like a deepening of character, a deepening of trust in him, a removal of trying to find our peace in stuff that doesn't last. And I really believe that if we let go, if we surrender, if we stop trying to get a fix for our circumstances and instead just lean into God, we're going to find a peace that doesn't make sense, a peace that passes all understanding. So let's lean on him. Let's turn to him. Let's cry out to him. And let's experience his peace.